Dr. Eben Alexander, a neurosurgeon, says you are not your body or your brain and that death is an illusion.
There is a scientific revolution going on now about the mind-brain discussion, the relationship between the two, that is extraordinary. And I think it's going to lead to a complete shift in our worldview that is unprecedented. We're conscious in spite of our brain. And so in fact, the big surprise and kind of the practical lesson for human beings is that when your physical brain and body die, your conscious awareness actually expands tremendously.
Dr. Alexander had a near-death experience, and he claims that this, along with the discoveries of quantum mechanics and the intractable problems in the current scientific paradigm, shows that consciousness is independent of the brain and that death is an illusion. That death is a transition of your consciousness to another phase of existence. Is that possible? Let's find out. If you're new here, my name is Morgue, and we are here to wake up the world because the world can't change until people understand what the world is. So join our war of the mind by subscribing right now, and my content is controversial, so hit the bell to turn on all notifications so you'll know when something new comes out. So let's hear what Dr. Alexander has to say.
The brain is a reducing valve or filter that allows primordial consciousness in. That is, the brain is not the creator of it. You cannot explain all of the details of human experience, especially all the evidence for non-local consciousness, the evidence for things like reincarnation, past life memories in children, indicative of reincarnation, things like that, if you think the brain is the producer of consciousness.
So according to Dr. Alexander, the brain does not create consciousness, but instead acts as a filter or a reducing valve. Now, what does this mean exactly? Well, for a moment, forget the idea that you're a body. What you truly are is an eternal mind, a non-physical mental entity. You, as an eternal mind, links to your brain and body in order to interact in the so-called physical world. You see, the brain does not create the mind. That's a logical impossibility. You are an eternal mind that links to the brain, and the brain acts as a filtering mechanism for you as a mind, a mental entity. Think of a virtual reality video game. The VR headset that you wear is like the brain. It allows you to enter the game world and have an avatar within the game. It allows you to interact in the game world with your game character. But that character is not who you really are. If that game character dies in the game, your true self remains fine. Likewise, the brain is what allows you as an infinite and eternal mind to control a body and interact in the world. Remember, we use eternal mind to refer to an immaterial mental entity, not in the way the scientific paradigm uses the word mind. Aldous Huxley said, "To make biological survival possible, mind at large has to be funneled through the reducing valve of the brain and nervous system. What comes out at the other end is a measly trickle of the kind of consciousness which will help us to stay alive on the surface of this particular planet." The brain must limit the mind to make interaction and survival possible in the world. If you felt everything in the universe all at once, you wouldn't be able to feel what was happening right next to you within space-time. The brain localizes the mind. The brain filters you as an infinite mind, which is non-local outside of space-time. So you can interact as a local entity within space-time through the body. This is why you don't remember your past lives. In the early stages of evolution, everything's a fight for survival, and the process of evolution will select for the creatures that filter out unnecessary mental data and focus only on hunting, killing, surviving. I did an entire video about reincarnation and why you don't remember your past lives, which I will link to at the end of this video.
Consciousness is what exists and generates the entire universe. It's all generated within consciousness. The brain and mind are very good at convincing us that all this stuff around us is out there. But what you're actually experiencing is a model deep within mind.
Does it seem strange to think that everything around you isn't actually physical, but a mental creation? How is that even possible? Is it strange to think your body is actually within mind rather than the mind being within the body? Well, it's actually not that strange, because think about it. You experience it every time you go to sleep and dream. You, as a mind, generates a dream body and a dream world, and you enter a dream body to explore your dream world. But at all times, everything is happening within mind. The truth is, the same is true for the objective world. The only difference is, this is a collective dream rather than a personal dream. It's a dream that we're all having together, and it's because every mind in existence contributes to the configuration of the collective dream world that you can't change things just by thinking about it, and it remains objective and stable.
But I think that's where it's important to point out the mystery of quantum physics, because the experiments in quantum physics keep showing us in no uncertain terms that consciousness is fundamental, that the conscious observer and our free will has everything to do with determining outcomes. It's not determined by mechanistic chemical reactions and the laws of physics and chemistry applied to the brain.
If you think this reality is a physical existence as classically described, you're living 100 years in the past. The discoveries of quantum mechanics have 100% refuted the idea of classical matter. Founder of quantum mechanics, Max Planck, said, "Atoms are not things. Mind is the matrix of all matter." And I regard consciousness as fundamental. I regard matter as derivative from consciousness. Another founder of quantum mechanics, Erwin Schrödinger, said, "Consciousness cannot be accounted for in physical terms, for consciousness is absolutely fundamental. It cannot be accounted for in terms of anything else." He also said, "We do not belong to the material world that science constructs for us. We are not in it. We are outside. We are only spectators. The reason why we believe that we are in it, that we belong to the picture, is that our bodies are in the picture. Our bodies belong to it. Not only my own body, but those of my friends, also of my dog and cat and horse and of all the people and animals, and this is my only means of communicating with them." Did you know that the current paradigm, scientific materialism, which views the world as material, cannot account for consciousness? It's 100% inexplicable, and this is known as the hard problem of consciousness. This is because it is a literal impossibility for dead, lifeless matter to produce life and mind. It's a logically incoherent and utterly impossible proposition. Physical matter cannot generate mind. However, mind can absolutely generate the illusion of matter. You do it every time you go to sleep. You generate a dream world. And while you're dreaming, your mind thinks it's 100% real. As we can see, via dreaming, the mind can generate the illusion of matter. The Big Bang was the beginning of our collective dream. We simply forgot, just like you forget you're dreaming when you're having a personal dream. But just as it's possible to become lucid in a personal dream, you can become lucid in this collective dream. You can become aware that it is a dream. Now, I certainly don't agree with everything Dr. Alexander says. He gets some major things wrong, and he's clouded by false, illogical religious beliefs. But this shows the world is slowly starting to rub the sleep from its eyes and beginning to realize we are all dreaming together. You, as an eternal mind, certainly will continue to exist after the death of your physical body. It's just an avatar after all. But the truth is that it's not actually consciousness that's fundamental, but mind. There is a difference between consciousness and mind. So what is mind? Mind is mathematical sinusoidal waveforms, frequency patterns, and through the unconscious interactions of these waveforms of mind, the collective mathematical dream of the universe is generated. Our system of ontological mathematics allows us to study the domain of mind, to unlock its secrets and know it rationally and logically. This is not a belief, but a mathematical certainty. Dr. Alexander should ditch his flawed religious beliefs and join our movement and embrace ontological mathematics. We are the beginning of a new scientific era, the science of mind. We are the ones that are lucid lucid in this collective dream, and we are a global movement seeking to gather all the lucid minds together and wake up the world. Are you beginning to wake up? Let me know in the comments. Tell me if you are, and tell me what you think. Share this video right now, and check out my other video, Is Reincarnation Real? Why You Don't Remember Your Past Lives. There are many in this world that don't want you to wake up, so join our War of the Mind. Subscribe right now. And if you enjoy my work, consider supporting on Patreon, and you'll get access to our secret live streams. A big shout out to all my supporters that make this work possible. My name is Morgue, and I am Hyperion. Ad Astra, to the stars.